Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today I have the privilege of Dr. Swamy's company. Dr. Swamy, welcome to PGurus channel.
Yes, thank you.
Dr. Swamy, I'd like us to cast our mind back to 1987, where the Hashimpura riots started. So I just want to kind of briefly narrate the background for our young India, not young Indians, but young India that follows us so closely. In 1987 April, there were communal riots in the Meerut area, city and its neighborhoods. And the riots died down, but in the middle of May 1987, they flared up again. And on the 19th of May 1987, shoot-at-sight orders were issued, army moved in, and along with it, what is called as Provincial Army Armed Constabulary, or PAC, also moved in. And then on the 20th of May, a cinema theater called Gulmarg was set on fire, and there was some firing, and a few people died. Now, after that, on the 22nd of May 1987, in a mohalla called Hashimpura, about 40 to 45 Muslim youth aged between 18 to 22 were rounded up. And I believe they were rounded up randomly. Dr. Swamy can correct me. He lived in the moment there at that time. And they were marched off to a canal called Upper Ganga Canal. And from what I have read, they were all lined up, and the idea was that the PAC would take aim and shoot them, and they would all fall in the canal, and they would just get washed away. And I believe this was happening towards the evening, and it was getting darker, and a few jumped the gun, literally, and they jumped into the canal and they washed ashore, and they lived to tell the tale. Dr. Swamy, I would like us to go back to that period, and there was a lot of work that you did to actually get the conscience of the country to look at what had really happened. Sir, why don't you walk us back from what happened during those days?
Well, Syed Shahabuddin was our Janata Party, my Janata Party colleague. We were both general secretaries together. And he one day came to see me, and he was in tears. He's a very emotional man, actually. Tears he used to come easily, but he felt that genuinely. Because he was emotional, and he described this event that had happened, which in short was like this. I mean, I'll add some padding of the flesh to your skeleton. On the night of around 10 o'clock in the it started actually even earlier, in the evening of 22nd. The PAC trucks arrived. Army was standing in a distance. There was hardly any mobilization of the army. It was some colonels and majors were stationed there, were watching this whole thing happen. The PAC went into this what we call as it's a semi-slum. It's not entirely like a slum, but it's a semi-slum. It's all unauthorized construction, but from decades. And they walked in and made an announcement that everybody should come out on the street. So everybody came on the street. Then in what is reminiscent of the Nazis, the announcement was made that all children below the age of 15 should go back to their house. Then the announcement made was that all Hindus should go back to their houses. Then they said all women, the Muslim women, they should go back to their houses. Like that process, they reached about 44, I think, not 45 but 44 young boys of the ages of 15 to 35. And then they told those boys board the truck, PAC which had been brought in. So now everybody has gone back to their houses in total fear, because these guys were standing with guns and they looked as if they were going to shoot them. So these boys went and sat in the truck, and the truck was driven 20 kilometers to the edge of a canal which diverts Ganga's water for irrigation in Ghaziabad and areas like that. So when they reached that, it was 2 a.m. in the morning, and the truck stopped on a road which is by the canal, and then asked each of these boys to step down. So as they stepped down, they were shot in the head. So of the 44, 42 died, and they fell there on the road, and then they were kicked into the water and they floated. 2 were grievously hurt, but not dead, but they pretended to be dead. So they were also kicked into the canal. So then the truck went away, and it went to one of the well-known, back to Meerut, where there was a PAC garage area, and they went in there, and they, by then it was early morning, they began washing the trucks of all the blood that had splattered when you shoot somebody such close range and so near the truck. At that time it was 23rd morning, and Mr. Chidambaram was a witness. It was a police station for the PAC, and he was with Chidambaram was there with the district magistrate of Ghaziabad, because the murder took place in an area which is part of Ghaziabad district, not Meerut district. And who Mr. Kaidi or Kaizi or something, he later became the chief election commissioner. So I also have talked to him. Now there was also one police official who's written a book, I forget his name, Narayan or something like that. Now Chidambaram, in the overhearing of these officers, phoned up Rajiv Gandhi.
Sir, just for our viewers, at that point of time, Chidambaram was the Minister of State for...
Minister of State in Rajiv Gandhi's for Home Affairs.
For Home Affairs, okay. Yes, please continue.
What he was doing there is another question,
okay,
because this is a state matter. Now, so he phoned up Rajiv Gandhi and said that a gang of Muslim boys attacked the PAC in their self-defense shot them. That's the explanation he gave them. And then he returned to Delhi. Now, when throughout the April to May period of rioting in Meerut district, this was one area which never had any communal riot or violence, and it was populated by Hindus and Muslims. Hindus controlled the shops and the Muslims were the workers in various factories. But Mr. Chidambaram arrived on the 19th of May. He arrived in Meerut, and he went and called a meeting of officers. And this is confirmed because I raised it in Parliament, and Mr. Chidambaram, after much hammering from all of us, all the other MPs who supported me, admitted that he was there on the 19th and 20th morning. He left for Delhi on 20th afternoon, and he returned on 23rd May morning. In the in my questioning of him in Parliament, I instead of saying 23rd, I said 22nd, and he coolly denied 22nd, but he admitted 18th and 19th. Now, It was a very, if you go to the parliament proceedings, there's a big halla-gulla about it that took place. But ultimately I got this on record. Now, when Mr. Shahabuddin described to me, I didn't believe it. So he took me there. So therefore, they took it to, when he took me there, and the bloods were all there on the road. Even then, I must have gone 26th or 27th of September, of May. It was all there. So I went to the Hashimpura area, and all of them confirmed this story about their having come back and been taken. And of course, they were all in great grief. And the Hindus also said there was never any problem here. And I don't know why we were picked. Subsequently, I went back to Delhi, and a person who was in Rajiv Gandhi's secretariat, PMO. In fact, he was at that time, he was originally a journalist, but then later he became a member of parliament. He told me, and he was a good friend of mine, so he told me that Chidambaram himself had told him that, like we taught the Sikhs a lesson, it was time to teach the Muslims a lesson so that law and order is maintained. But this is not what he told, he was boasting. This is not what he told Rajiv Gandhi. He had told him that, these people pounced on the PSC and they in self-defense shot a few people. Now, I met Rajiv. He was a great friend of mine. He must have received by then reports of the intelligence. And, cross-checking, he would have got some material. So I asked him that this has taken place. He said, really, it doesn't seem to have come in the papers. I said, papers, it's a conspiracy of silence. So then he said, all right, if it is not, let me find out. I said, no, you don't find out. You hold an inquiry. Then he thought for a minute and he said, Swamy, please don't get into this. I said, what do you mean don't get into this? It looks like genocide to me. Why shouldn't I get in? So he said, no, it's much more complicated. So I cannot order an inquiry. So I had no other alternative. And there was utter silence. Even the Muslims are not ready to take it up. So I felt, what is this? I fought for the emergency, fought for democracy, and then, this kind of thing happened. It doesn't matter it happened to the Muslims, but it is genocide and we have to do something about it. So I decided the only way is I go into fast unto death. Frankly, I never knew how terrible it is to go on a genuine fast unto death. So I put up a pandal in boat club near the secretariat, and I sat on. I said I'm not. I called the press and told them. First day went. No response from Rajiv Gandhi. Second day, no response. Third day, no response. Fourth day, no response. Fifth day, no response.
Sir, just for our viewers, when you are going through this fast unto death, so does the doctor come and check your pulse?
Yes, the Loya hospital people, which is not far away.
I see.
That is not compulsory.
You were a strapping youth of 38 years to 39 years then.
I wouldn't say that, it was more. I think it was I was must have been
48, 49.
40. So no, I had no health problem, but it was getting to be a genuine fast, which others don't do. They take glucose, they take Ayurveda medicines. This fellow, what's his name? This AAP party chief.
Muffler man.
Muffler man. He went 41 days or something, but it was all putting Ayurveda medicines in the water and drinking. But mine was genuine, and I was looking visibly. So on the 5th day and the 6th day, morning, the doctors came and then they said, sir, your organs can fail. Now you have reached a stage where you have overstretched the endurance of your body. So it's your call. So I said, now I sat, of course my wife was never pleased with the idea. And she told me that once okay, but never again. So I said, okay, on that condition. So she looked after me. Now, on the seventh day, of course, Shahabuddin was doing a lot of, talking to people, come on. Lots of people came, huge turnout, all the members of parliament, all of them came, except BJP people. But BJP didn't have many, I think they had only 2 MPs, and they were my personal friends, so they came. But BJP did not come. Because Vajpayee, he would have preferred if I had just passed away. So anyway, Jama Mahdi Masjid's Imam came, and Bauguna came. I mean, it's unbelievable, the thing. I've got these press cuttings, you can have a look at them. I'll give you the petition which is now pending in the court, which has all that. Now, suddenly I got Mr. Bhutta Singh, the Home Minister, Union Home, come to see me. With him he carried a letter that we have agreed to hold an inquiry. I think Rajiv Gandhi melted. He was under pressure from Chidambaram and others not to do it. But ultimately his friendship for me overrode it, because everybody was surprised. Because he had very clearly said, nothing, we are not going to do anything in this. Because he felt that this will all boomerang on him, and then his minority vote bank will be affected. I don't know what the problem was, but he melted and he ordered the inquiry. So I lifted my my fast. Now it was handed over ultimately to first the UP police. They rounded up 16 CRP people. PSC people.
Satyapal Singh was there.
Yeah, that's right. He was a commandant.
Right.
So they had identified the truck. From that, they identified the battalion. So I think I remember 42nd Battalion or something. So they rounded up these 16 people, made them accused, and investigation started. And ultimately, the Supreme Court, there was a PIL by somebody, PIL by somebody, and so the Supreme Court ordered that the taken away from Ghaziabad courts and brought to Delhi's Tizazari court in a special CBI court. This should be heard. And this was 1987. All these procedures ultimately took us to 2005. Then the trial began, and I tried to intervene in the trial, and surprising, the left wing had by then got into it as an NGO for getting compensation. So they were being financed by Mr. Chidambaram. He had become minister by then, again the UPA, and they were stoutly opposed to my coming in, because I said that the list of accused is incomplete, and therefore Chidambaram's name should be added. So the judge heard me over a period of time, because he didn't want to say no to them, me, and no to them. So ultimately he ruled that criminal law doesn't provide interveners. It's a crime against the state, and the state can look after itself. But that is all rubbish, because the Gujarat cases we have, where court feels that if there is no proper trial, then it can, interveners can come and bring it to their notice. So very soon after that, by 2013, the judge dismissed it.
Yeah, 2015. But you're right. They said that the two survivors could not identify.
See, at 2 a.m., all these guys are gone. How do you identify them? And you just get down, then only you see them, and you have to be sure that the guy who used the rifle on him is the guy who you identified.
Right.
So, but that judge says it is agonizing for me to dismiss this case. So, this judgment you must read. He agonizes. He says the police have botched it up. And by the way, throughout my efforts to get Chidambaram in, this Mulayam Singh, who was my friend, who had become chief minister. This incident took place when the Congress was in power in UP. But now Mulayam Singh was there towards the end. He was telling me, they were all Yadavas, those. He said, why you want to fuss out them, why do you want to implicate them, and so on. Anyway, they were all determined somehow to get this matter dismissed. Now,
Sir, so this is a...
So, now I'm saying that one more thing. So, I have then gone to the High Court to say hold a retrial under section 386 of the CRPC.
Sir, one question that stands out in this whole thing is law and order is a state problem. So the state in the question is Uttar Pradesh, and it was, I think, Congress ruled at that time, right? So why was Mr. Chidambaram even there in the first place?
Well, technically, we have said that when it comes to any crime against scheduled castes or or it's a communal flare-up, the center has a right to intervene. So, but Veerbhadra Singh told me I never invited him, he came on his own. And from what I know, Rajiv did not send him also. I think he wanted to appear suddenly as a macho. I mean, he has got this feeling that if you are a tough guy and you are killing people, then everybody will submit to you. He doesn't know India. 800 years the Muslim tried to kill us, right. And we still survived, and we're 80% Hindu even today. So, one doesn't know the Indian history. So, that's how he came. He came 3 times. First he came on 18th, stayed over 19th during the night, and 19th he left. Then this incident happened in the night of the 22nd, and he came back on 23rd. And then Rajiv Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, with Sonia Gandhi, made a visit in 29th of May.
29th and 30th.
So he came with them also. It was certainly undue interest. But then I told you this friend who was working, who was assisting Rajiv Gandhi, he told me that Chidambaram boasted to him. So now I am not going to let go. There's one problem: the genocide convention adopted by the international community has been not made a part of the law in our country. That is, Article 253 of the Constitution requires that even if you ratify something, you have to put it to Parliament and pass a law. That we have not done. But I have now discovered a method by which I can still make it into a genocide convention, genocide application, and ask retrial for that. But I am waiting for a situation where all these fashionable ladies, left-wing ladies who have do compensation, they are dominating the hearing. So whenever hearing takes place, my turn doesn't come. There's still not unresolved. So, but this is there's no time bar in this. So, but it is something which we need to bring people to book. I think if the PSC people in their trial, they say we were ordered to do it, I'm sure that they would get a minimum sentence, and that probably they have already served it while while awaiting trial. So only Mr. Chidambaram would probably get a death penalty.
It's really heartbreaking how this lingered on for so long.
Yeah. No, I see. We have to make this a test case. It happened in many places. All these encounter deaths and so on. But we need a case which will be an example for it. Then it will change things.
Right. Thank you very much, Doctor.